This is your Wednesday edition of Info Hub. First up, President David Granger today, during a visit to St. Ignatius as part of Indigenous Heritage Month activities, underscored the importance of an economic foundation for the development of communities. Details from Stacey Carmichael.
The president called for careful economic planning to ensure the country's long-term survival. Citing the situation in neighboring Venezuela and the migration of thousands of persons, President Granger said village leaders and the government need to think of ways of building the Upper Takatu, Upper Essequibo region's resilience.
How we will build resilience, how we make this region strong enough to withstand any economic pressure, strong enough to ensure that our children and grandchildren could live.
President Granger noted most hinterland regions have the ability to move from subsistence farming to sustainable farming. Region 9, the president added, is one of the most susceptible to the vagaries of the weather. He informed that in the next few days, over 5,000 members of the Brazilian Construction Engineering Battalion will be in the region to provide environmental security.
So that we have wells. So during the dry season, the wells to provide water for families and livestock. And we wouldn't go from these cycles of excessive water to droughts. So environmental security is very important if we're going to provide for food security. We have to look at other things too. So we have to take a second look at farming, at cattle rearing, at the whole livestock industry, to put it on a competitive footing so that we can see in the supermarkets Rupununi meat, Rupununi mutton, Rupununi beef once again.
The head of state also called for more focus on other aspects of economic diversification, pointing to the many untapped resources, specifically in ecotourism. The regional chairman, Brian Alicock, was gifted a check in the sum of $500,000 and sports gear handed over to the Tushao Dennis Benedict by the head of state. For Info Hub, Stacey Carmichael.
In news from the United Nations General Assembly, Foreign Affairs Minister Carl Greenidge calls for the rekindling of faith in multilateralism as he addressed the meeting of the non-aligned movement in New York. He said the event was timely given the emerging challenges to international peace and security.
Minister Greenidge told the meeting, for this reason, Guyana endorses the prudence of recognizing the importance at this juncture in harnessing and enhancing multilateralism to respond effectively to the myriad challenges we face, especially within the framework of international law. For Guyana, as a small developing country with well-known security challenges, the minister said the multilateral recourse has been an automatic instinct and imperative. Minister Greenidge listed 4 specific aspects he believes will lend to accelerated progress towards a culture of peace. He called for a renewal of faith in multilateralism built on the foundation of dialogue, engagement, and compromise. The minister said, the challenges we face at the current juncture require us to act in concert to generate real solutions, and my hope is that we will work together for the triumph of multilateralism. Sovereignty, territorial integrity, and political independence, the minister listed as important elements, making known Guyana's abhorrence of attempts to infringe on the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and political independence of states. He urged the movement to be unrelenting in its protest against every action that seeks to compromise these principles. According to Minister Greenidge, Guyana affirms that respect for the inherent dignity, equality, and inalienable rights of all members of the human family remains the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. One of the principal tenets on which a culture of peace must be based is full respect for and promotion of all human rights and fundamental freedoms. The Foreign Affairs Minister called for a renewed commitment to the UN's disarmament agenda and restated Guyana's commitment to the non-aligned movement. The meeting was hosted under the theme, Upholding the UN Charter and the Purposes and Principles of the Non-Aligned Movement Towards a Culture of Peace. For Info Hub, Stacey Carmichael.
Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu has again accepted a challenge from the Canadian High Commissioner to share his office with a girl for a day in observance of the Day of the Girl 2018. The challenge was issued by Canadian High Commissioner Her Excellency Lillian Chatterjee. Last year, the Prime Minister joined her by participating in #GirlsBelongHere initiative. On October 10, 2017, both the Prime Minister and the High Commissioner shared their offices with two young women as part of the global advocacy to show that girls and young women could hold key decision-making positions. Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu noted then that globally, girls and women should be respected and they should be part of the decision-making process at the highest levels. Last year, he shared his office with 19-year-old Martina Ned, an intern at the Office of the Prime Minister, as part of the practical application of her studies at the Bertram Collins College of Public Service. She has since gained employment in the Office of the Prime Minister. State Minister Joseph Harmon has assured that Guyana's public debt is being well managed by the Finance Ministry. More from Stacey Carmichael.
The importance of sound public debt management was underscored by the Minister of State, Joseph Harmon, during a recent press conference. The minister was responding to questions regarding the supervision of Guyana's public debts in light of recently signed loan agreements. He credited Minister of Finance Winston Jordan for the prudent management of the country's debt.
Our Minister of Finance, if you know him well, is a very, very tight-fisted person. And usually he will not step out and sign agreements and sign documents which adds to our public debt without some form of action plan on how we are going to deal with it.
Minister Harmon reminded that prior to the Minister of Finance signing any new loan agreement, these matters are deliberated at the cabinet level.
The minister himself does not go out on his own and sign these documents. They are the subject of deliberation before the cabinet, and they are actually, the minister is given the mandate to proceed to sign any commitment which is made between the government of Guyana and either a bilateral party or an international agency.
On September 22, Guyana signed two agreements with China for the upgrading of education and health networks and funding for the Public Service College. Minister Harmon explained that the loans amounted to about $7.9 billion. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
Turning our attention now to the ongoing arbitration between the Guyana Teachers Union and the Education Ministry, the union did not show up for today's meeting at the Department of Labor, and the Ministry of Education is cautioning teachers against industrial action. Tiffany Rogers has more.
The Department of Labor, in a statement today, explained the appointment of Professor Leland Lucas as chairman of the arbitration tribunal between the Ministry of Education and the Guyana Teachers Union is in keeping with the collective labor agreement. The two parties went to tribunal to resolve salary increases for public school teachers. The ministry statement cited clauses 3A and 3B of the relevant CLA, which states that the Ministry of Labor shall nominate the chairman in the event the parties fail to reach an agreement. On Tuesday, the Chief Labour Officer met with the GTU and Ministry of Education officials to nominate a chairman, but there was no consensus between the two parties, which led to the appointment by the Labour Department. The GTU was a no-show at a meeting scheduled for today. However, in sections of today's print media, President of the GTU, Mark Light, threatened industrial action. Light objected to the appointment of Professor Lucas as chairman of the arbitration tribunal. This prompted the Ministry of Education to caution teachers against industrial action. The ministry noted that an MOU signed between itself and the GTU in July 1983 prohibits any industrial action and must be complied with by both parties. The Ministry of Education advised teachers should this legal stipulation be violated, the appropriate action will ensue. For InfoHub, Tiffany Rogers.
Why when I drink a nice guy, I get smoking on? Hey barman, y'all don't sell cigarettes anymore?
The new tobacco law says we can't have cigarettes on public display and we can't advertise that we sell it.
Okay, give my part.
You can't do that in here, buddy. The law states that you can't smoke in an enclosed area. You have to go outside.
I think that's how they do it in foreign. So, the law finally comes again. I'm glad though.
Let's all work together to prevent cigarette smoking-related illnesses.
Welcome back. History was created today as hundreds of young people from across the country gathered for the first National Youth Conference, which opened this morning at the Arthur Chung Conference Center. Isaiah Braffett has more.
Minister of Social Cohesion Dr. George Norton told the youth that they have been entrusted with igniting meaningful conversations that can spark positive change for young people. The minister said the government recognizes that the persons best suited to address the issues affecting youths are the young people themselves.
I encourage you to take your role as participants in this conference seriously and try your utmost to be vocal, being respectful, of course, in all these discussions. The policymakers will be listening. We will be taking note of your concerns, and we will also be paying keen attention to your recommendations. This is your opportunity.
Director of Youth Melissa Carmichael Haynes said the conference served to ensure that government carries out its mandate outlined in the National Youth Policy. Carmichael Haynes pointed out that the development of Guyana depends largely on the development of the country's youth.
Young people, do respect each other's comments and ideas. Form youth bodies out of today's and tomorrow's activity. Advocate for change in Guyana and advocate for continued development for young people.
Some of the participants of the conference shared with InfoHub how they believe the conference will benefit them.
We have here today youth from all across Guyana, all 10 regional administrative regions, and I think we will be able to discuss some of the social issue and probably share information and possible solution how we can target some of these issues. And we will be empowered and motivated as well to start our own NGO.
So far, I find it very interesting because whatever I learn from here, I'll take it back to my community and advise the youths. Also, I'm planning to open a women empowerment group, so this will be helpful.
Today's discussions were centered around the Sustainable Development Goals, the role of youth in democracy and governance, and youth health and well-being. The theme for the conference is Youth Perspective for Empowerment and Development for a Better Guyana. Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
HIV/AIDS is still a public health concern, and to remind the populace of this, the Ministry of Public Health, with support from international agencies, are introducing new advertisements and public service announcements to bring awareness to citizens of the effects of HIV/AIDS and the relevant support mechanisms in place. Here are details.
The launching of these ads and PSAs signals the Public Health Ministry's efforts to resensitize the population about the campaign to control and prevent the spread of HIV/AIDS. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Shamdeo Prasad said this is a part of several ministry initiatives on the way to combat the worldwide HIV/AIDS epidemic.
So it's good that we are back on the trail when it comes to, and I'm saying back on the trail because we did have some lull in the that active program to try to get our public informed and for everyone to understand what it is.
Writer and producer Mosa Telford said this is the first time she's prepared content for an animated production. She described the process as rewarding, given her previous years of experience.
My writing career was actually launched by working in HIV and AIDS awareness through the March project, which became known as Marundoy. And even before that, as a teenager, I was part of a youth group, and we were also doing a lot of HIV and AIDS awareness in the 90s, early 2000s.
4 30-second ads, 4 1-minute PSAs with audio pieces for radio have been produced. All pieces focuses on knowing one's status, treatment adherence, and the prevention of the spread of HIV. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Public Health today consulted with residents of Diamond and surrounding communities who will soon benefit from the Diamond Diagnostic Center's SMART initiative.
The SMART Environment initiative is designed to help reduce mortality and economic losses from natural disasters. Minister within the Ministry of Public Health, Dr. Karen Cummins, said that the implementation of the initiative is one that needs to be embraced for the nation's benefit.
The purpose of this SMART environment is to improve existing procedures for the provision of advanced means of medical care and to open up new opportunities for medicine. Guyana has joined the rest of the world in embracing the SMART Hospital Initiative and will not be left behind as the world moves in the direction of providing health care that is safe, sustainable, and affordable, while utilizing technological ecosystems that harness information and communication technologies.
Minister Cummins noted that it has been recognized that excellence in clinical outcomes, efficiency in the supply chain, and the advancements of patient experience are among the factors driving the development of the healthcare sector. Acting British High Commissioner Ray Davidson urged the participants to use the consultation to inform the decision-making process.
This is your chance to engage in the process, and I would urge you to do so in order that what is delivered is what is actually needed by the people who use this service.
This initiative is a collaborative effort between the Ministry of Public Health, the United Kingdom through its Department for International Development, and Pan American Health Organization, World Health Organization. Reporting for InfoHub, Crystal Stahl.
For continuous news on developments across the country, connect with us at DPI on our website or social media. We leave you now with your bridge and weather reports. Goodbye.